So Ridwan, you forgot to remind me today. Okay. So let me share my board. Hello, can anybody hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I said you might remember from our previous lessons where we used our GitHub, to put our website on the internet, and we were able to share our files, our website with our friends. And the reason why we did that? The reason is if you are coding, everything lives on your computer. Nobody can see whatever you have on your computer. So if let's say I'm in US and you are in Nigeria and you have this beautiful code on your, you've worked on, you have this beautiful project that is consistent that is what you communicate with all these files lives on our system, and they are very, very small files. Let's say we have index.html, which is just about our homepage, and it is very small. Then we have the JavaScript file, whereby we are trying to manipulate the DOM. We are trying to change things on the DOM. Then we have the CSS, to style our website, just to give some flesh to it. So all these files are just small files that lives on our system. So presently, we are just on our own. We are practicing, no team members, just ourselves. So just a couple of files. But in real life, you are most likely not the only developer on a team. Most likely, the projects are huge, and you have to deal with many, many files. So version control allows us to make sure that multiple people can work on the same file from different locations. So think of it like Google Docs. I know most of us, we've used Google Docs, maybe Google Spreadsheets and all those, Google Sheets, Google Docs. So if you are working with Google Docs, it is possible for me to create Google Doc, Google Documents, and put some things there, then send a link to you whereby you can edit, you can have access to a lot of things as if you are working on that particular file on your own system. So Google Docs allows people to collaborate on one document. And, so let's just check out what version control and what Git is all about. So I'm going to share my screen right away. Then, okay. So pardon me a moment. Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So let's say I'm a company, and the name of my company is, can you all see my screen? Can we see my screen? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say the name of my company is Ridwan IT.
Yes, you can see your screen.
Okay. So let's say the name of my company is Ridwan IT. So I just want to use this as an example. Let's say we have a team of members and we have a company. And inside this company, I'm going to create two folders. So I'm doing this because it is not convenient for me to be using Zoom to be working on two different computers. But then with this simple process, I think we can actually understand what is going on. So let's say we have, we have two systems. And so this system is going to be called Read One. And we have another laptop, or let me say another department or someone else on that team, which is in this regards, I'm going to call the name of the person Barakat, for example. So I have two folders over here, and one folder is for myself, read one, and read one is just, is this new developer that is, starting a new job at Read One IT Limited. And I have Barakat over here. So this is Barakat laptop. This is Read One's laptop. So who is Barakat? Barakat is someone, she's a developer, and she has been working at this Read One IT Limited for a while. She has a lot of projects and all those. So I just have to copy one project inside of there. So just pardon me. I have to minimize that window, then copy one project from last week. I think we have background generator. Okay, fine. So I'm going to use this. So okay. So now we have Barakat, and Barakat has, she has some files she has been working on for a while, and she has been working with these files, and this is read one. So let me just open this. I'm going to open this, what was it called, in different tabs, so that we can see them side by side, and we can see what's the demonstration I'm trying to make. So okay, fine. So yes. So as you can see here, we have Read One's laptop, and he's just the new guy. He has not worked on anything. The laptop was just given to him, no project on it, and nothing is on it. And we have Barakat, which is this file over here. So on Barakat's laptop, she has been working with the company for a while. She has worked on some projects, and everything lives on her own computer. So now, without Git or GitHub, what I can do is, if I reach the company for the first time, and Barakat was introduced to me as the developer, and this is Read One, the new developer. So you have to work together with Barakat. So without Git or GitHub, if I want to work on these files, what I will do is I'll just tell Barakat, you know what, this is my flash drive. So take my flash drive, copy all your files, the projects you are working on that you want me to work on. So copy them onto this flash drive. Then I go to my computer, and I have to paste those files that I collected from Barakat. So what we can do is I'll just copy this file from Barakat's laptop, then I come to my own laptop and paste it there. And again, I'm going to open up these things. I ought to have done that before, but because I just want to show us again, like a refresher. So using our command prompt, in case we've forgotten that, a week is too much also to forget something. So I'm just going to open up these things in, so I need to locate the files. So what I will do is I'll copy this link, then CD. We know how to do that already. So if I copy this now, so I want to locate this from desktop. So, oops, what's going on? So let's do CD desktop. And inside desktop, we have new folder. So CD new folder. Because there is space, there will be some, okay, it's entered. Then CD, let's check what do we have here. We have Read One IT Limited, so I can copy this. So this is something we actually know how to do. So I can just, CD means change directory. So inside there, we have how many folders? So we have Barakat, we have Read One. So I want to open up Barakat system. So I will do code dot. So this is going to open up in VS Code. I don't have to be explaining this all these things again, because it's something we actually learned how to do last week, and so that we just save our time, save ourselves the time, the stress of going through that. So again, I want to open up Read One's folder too. So I'll do CD Read One. Then inside here, I want to open up this in VSC. So let's see what's going to happen. So we have then coming up. So I just want to open up this environment just so I can tell you, like, okay, we have on Barakat's laptop, she opened up our project files in our coding environment. Then we have Ridwan also opening up, his project files inside. Just close this because I don't need it. So pardon me, I have a lot of programs running. So moment, please. Okay. So we have Barakat, and Barakat has a project environment, sorry, a development environment, what open up here. And we have this guy over here too, which is Ridwan. And Ridwan also has his project environment open. So I'm just going to put this side by side so that we can actually see. So like I said the other time, see these project folders and project environment as if they are on different um, system. As if Barakat has her own different laptop, Ridwan has his own different laptop. So I'm just, because I'm using one laptop, for this presentation. So that is why I'm just trying to, like, what can I say? Emulate, is it emulate? I'm just trying to, like, use this as an example, just so we can, we can understand what is actually going on. So I can have my development environment here with, my terminal. Last week I showed us how to, like, open up terminals in VSC. And to do that, oops, what's going on? Animated. Okay. So to do that, we have to do, come in. I think I have to resize the screen. Okay. So to do that, you drag this up, which is going to, like, give you access to, to the VSC terminal environment. So inside this, my project folder or my project environment, I can work on whatever change that needs to be made on that particular application. And Barakat over here can also work on, whatever change that needs to be made, on that project. And she has her own version where she can work on it. And let's say we are both working on the same project. But let's say that both Barakat and I are working on this project, and she decides to change the title of our project to, super background. So, like, here we have graded background. She's like, okay, fine. In this project that I'm working on, I have some reasons, and I think the best thing we need to do is, instead of having gradient background here, let me change it to, super background, for example. And at the same time, in my own project, this is my own laptop, I can say that, okay, fine. Instead of, instead of having graded background here, let me change this to cool background because I think the background is cool. So now, I've made changes. She has some changes on our system too, which I don't know anything about. And in my own system, I've made some changes which she doesn't know anything about because we have different laptop and probably we are working in different, they give us different offices. So if we are to make this change in this particular project, what we have to do is I will have to set up a meeting between myself and Barakat and decide and talk about this, like, this code is going to change. And I think it is school background that is, more appropriate. She'll be like, you know what, read one. Super background is okay. So we're having a kind of meeting, probably on the phone or maybe physically. So you can imagine if you are working with a lot of developers, like different developers are working together, there's going to always be this issue of one person changing one thing, another person changing another thing. This is where version control comes in. Like, let's say you are working on, you are working with Facebook Inc. and, you are working with a lot of developers, and each of them have to like make some changes with the code. Like, okay, Facebook today doesn't have dark mode. Okay, let's create dark mode. So you work on the mode, me, I work on the color, someone else work on the implementation, all those things. So if they are making these changes, that means they will have to be like setting up some meetings every time. Like, what? I want to add A here. Should I add it? And someone else will be like, what? A is not good. Why not use X? And someone will be like, no, Z is bad. Imagine they just want to make little change. They will spend like many months discussing this because of what? Because they can't control the versions. So this is where version control comes in. So version control is a way to control these things where we have something else change on our own computer, and they have something on their computer that has changed in their code. So, and in my case, different computer has different folders here. Like I showed us the other time, just to show us. So we have read one, we have laptop, we have Barakat, and these two folders means two different laptops. So I'm just using that as an example. So instead of each of us having different copy of this project with different versions, we have a copy of the project file. We can have this in a location, in a centralized location. So there is always a centralized location somewhere, probably maybe owned by the company you are working with, or maybe somewhere on the internet that that has the ultimate version of each file or of the file or of the project. So to make sure that we have the same version. So for example, I talked about Google Docs the other time. So Google Doc, Google Doc. So Google is a company that is managing that platform. So you have this centralized location whereby your files are saved. So someone in the UK can, log into your file. If you give them the access, they can go into your file, make some changes. You in Nigeria can see the changes and be like, you can comment, you can do a lot of things. So that is where version control comes in. Git and GitHub is a way for developers to do this. It gives us the power to be able to use version control. And as a matter of fact, it's just the de facto way of doing things. So like I wrote an article which I will share the Medium link later on, why you need Git. So imagine you are working on a project and you are working with some developers in India, and you have to make some changes. And it is not possible for you to copy those things on your laptop with your USB, then go to the courier service and be like, I want you to send this file to someone in the UK. And that person in the UK will get it and be like, oh, read one has changed the title. They will implement it. Then they will copy their own version too and send it back to you in Nigeria. That is stressful, right? You might be thinking like, why not email? Imagine we are working on the same project and, okay, like what we used to do in school, project supervisors and all those. So if I have different version of my project, I have to copy it, send it to my supervisor via email. He or she is going to make some changes, send it back to me. So if I'm downloading that, I'm downloading another version. So at the end of the project, you might have many, many documents, the same project, because you are having changes in each. So you'll be renaming them. This is project number 1, project number 2.1, 2.3. So that is kind of stressful. How about you having a centralized platform whereby you have your project as a whole? So if your lecturer is making any changes, you are not duplicating that project. So you can see the changes like, oh, this has changed. Then you can see the history of the changes. Then, you are working on a single file. So Git is an open source distributed version control system for tracking changes in source code during software development. So Git is designed for coordinating work among programmers, and Git can be used to track changes in any set of files. So the goal of Git includes speed and data integrity. Like I said before, this is most, it is most likely the tool you are going to be using every single day at your workplace as a developer. So let's go to Git website and let's see what do we have. So if I do git.com, so if I go to GitHub website, you know, what it allows us to do is GitHub is a place, a central place that both read one and oops, I don't need to show some things. So both Ridwan and Barakat can actually work on, and they can collaborate, they can talk to this particular platform to get the latest version of whatever project they are working on. So even though I and Barakat, we have the same file, we have the same project, I can ask this central location, such as GitHub. Like, you know what, GitHub, has Barakat made any changes? And Barakat can also ask this particular platform, like, okay, platform GitHub, has Ridwan made any changes? And every once in a while, you get something like, something like this, whereby we have the cool background that has changed, where we have something called match conflicts. So cool background has changed here, and on Barakat's laptop she has super background. So at the end of the day, this might end up in match conflict. So don't worry, I will show us all those things, and so. And this centralized system is just one of the beauties. Is going to tell you, like, you know what? I noticed that there is a match conflict. So I see that you guys, yeah, both of you have changed the background color, and I don't know who is right, but here is the information. So Ridwan and Barakat can, they can talk about this and they can figure it out. So using these two Git. So let's actually see what this looks like, instead of this talk. So the first thing I want to show you is, you have to set up a GitHub account. If you haven't done that in the previous exercises, in the previous classes, so you absolutely should start a GitHub account. I have my own GitHub account where I have my code repositories, and I've worked on some projects, which I've presently be working on some projects also. And like I said before, if you are a developer, you just need to have a GitHub account. It is where everybody puts their projects, companies, individuals, and all those. So if I go back here, you see that we have some guys here. This is MD Bootstrap, probably a company, and we have this guy over here, First Brasta. So I think he did some changes and all those. So everybody is just here, with their codes, with their changes, with all those. So you probably want to have a GitHub account. And I took us through the process of having a GitHub account, because this is where you work. You'll be spending a lot of time probably on this website, on this platform. And you might remember that when we had the GitHub project, the first time we talked about Git, we used something called GitHub for desktop. And I also told you to get GitHub for desktop. So if I do GitHub for desktop, yeah. So this is what we used the other time. Although we use this, to make things simpler during that section, this is actually not recommended. It is not the recommended way of doing things as a developer. It allows you to actually visually see the interface and interact with GitHub, but it's kind of looked down upon by employers, and most people use the terminal or the command prompts to actually do it. So I won't be teaching you how to be using these Git for desktop, for now. I won't be teaching you that, or even henceforth, because we use that during the introductory class just to show you the beauty of using GitHub. So it's actually a bad practice, for a developer. Though you can change my mind later, but for now, it's a bad practice. So you wouldn't want to be using GUI as a developer. So you just have to get used to the terminal, get used to how to run commands in the command prompt. So let's get started. So I'm just going to close this. So back to GitHub. The very first thing that we are going to do is we are going to create a new repository. And to do that, you have some options. You have to click on this plus button and you see this new repository. Then I think you can also do it from, okay, if it depends on the kind of page you are on. So for now, we have to click on create new repository. And here, you can call your repo any name you want, whatever name you want. So for now, because we are dealing with this project, so we want to make it, you know, what's it called? Descriptive. So it's better I name my project, you know, this background generator. So I'm just going to come here, name my project background generator. Okay, because I have that already. So background generator, let me say, okay, new background generator. So once you've done that, you know, you'd want to make sure this is public. If you have any description like this project is all about, but it is optional, then you want to make sure it is public. And probably if you want to add a README, you can add a README. But for now, I'm going to skip this step because we already have the project. You see this? Skip this step if you are importing an existing repository. So we already have the project on our laptop. We just want to like make sure we have them in GitHub and we can learn how to like, you know, the Git workflow. So the next thing is if you click on this initialize this repository with README, this README is a file that describes your project. Don't worry, we'll get back to that later on where I will explain all this. So then I'm going to tick this off. You click on create repository, then wait for some seconds and the repo is going to be created for you. Now using GitHub is kind of straightforward. You know, they give you the steps and all those things all the things you might need to like, you know, do to get your project on GitHub. So as you can see here, if you want to create a new repo on the command line, you follow these commands. So definitely you don't have to cram all these, or probably you'll be like, okay, I need to know. Fine, if you are working with Git, you know, for a very long time, the team will start, what can I say, the muscle will get built and, you know, all these things will be coming as you are working and, you know, as you are trying to like add things to the Git. So what I'm going to do now is, you know, I'm going to go back into our folder. So I have Barakat. She has been working with the company for a very long time. She has been working on this project and we have this new guy. This new guy is Ridwan, is still new. So we have to undo this because he doesn't know about the project. So he has his own computer, nothing is there. And we have Barakat. So Barakat has been working at this company for a long time. And the employer of the company, which is Ridwan IT Limited, says like, you know what? Henceforth, we need to be using GitHub. And we are going to hire this new guy, Ridwan. So we want to make sure that both of you can work on this project together without any issues, without any problem. So Barakat, you know, that is the company owner talking. Barakat, can you please put this project on GitHub so that Ridwan can also have access to it wherever he is, because Ridwan will be working remotely henceforth. So can you put these codes, this project on GitHub? So Barakat will be like, fine, no problem, I'll do that. So Barakat is going to go to GitHub, you know, register on GitHub, then click on new, create new repository, and this is where Barakat is presently to add the project to GitHub. So Barakat is going to, you know, last week I talked about Echo and I talked about, you know, if you are using what's it called? If you are using macOS, if you want to create a file, you do for Mac, you do touch. for Windows, you do echo. We know about this. So this is just like, we want to create a new file, and inside that file, put new background generator inside of it. Then, this is pointing to the folder, then the folder name and the folder extension. So this is MD. So if it is text, it might be readme.txt. If it is HTML, it might be index.html. So we already know about this. So we are going to skip this because we already have our files. So we are going to come to the next stage, which is Git init. So the next thing Barakat is going to do to add this project to GitHub is she's going to initialize Git. So to initialize Git, what she's going to do is she's going to open up our environment. She's going to open up our terminal, and you can see this is Barakat laptop. So she's going to say Git init. If you remember, this is how to initialize Git. So we talked about this when we started the Git section the first time. So she's going to do Git init. So she clicks enter on her keypad and she waits for some seconds. So this Git init is going to initialize, you see this, initialized empty Git repository. So for the first time, it's going to be empty. Then Barakat comes back here. She needs to add all the files she has created. So presently, we know that Barakat didn't create this README because she doesn't need it presently. What she needs is, she has her files, which are index.html, script.js, and style.css. So she needs to add these files. So what she's going to do is, she's going to use this command, git add, then the name of the file. So Barakat is going to come back to the terminal. She's going to say git add. So what file do I need to add? I need index.html. She sends that. Then git add script.js. Don't worry, I know you are thinking like, read one. What if we have thousands of files? Are we going to be doing this? Don't worry, I just want to show this for the first time. Then I'm going to show you how you can add everything together with just one command. So she needs to add the third file, which is git add style.css. So she has done that. So there is another command I want to show us with Git. So this command is called git status. So git status is just going to tell you the particular status of your Git, what's it called, workflow at that moment. So if I do git status, so it's going to tell you some things. So it brings up, so let me just drag this up. It brings up some information for us, like on branch master, don't worry, I will explain this later, no commit yet. Then changes to be committed, we have these new files. So here, let me clear this up. We know how to do clear screen from our prompt, from our command line section. So click CRS, that's clean that, then I do git status again. So I have this information. So come back here, you follow this instruction, git commit first commit. So what does that mean? So back in the terminal, in Barakat terminal, let me open this side by side. We are going to do git commit. Commit means I'm adding this to the Git repository. So if I want to add it so that it can be tracked later, so I'm adding all these files to one particular history with a particular message, so that probably later, let's say Mark is my boss and Mark said, you know what, read one, we need to create dark mode for Facebook. And later that we created that, we've added it and everybody is using it, and maybe there are some issues and we have to like revert back the changes. It has happened a lot of times whereby WhatsApp will release some versions of their application onto Play Store and people will download and they will give them feedback like, this app is crashing, all those things. And what they do is they revert that back to the, maybe to the previously working version, and people need to download the app again, and everything is working. So they revert back to a particular version. So this commit is just like you are trying to commit some changes to history so that you'll be able to like you are preparing your files. You are staging the files. So you can do git commit. You just have to get used to these things. Git commit m, then you add the name of the file. So what name do you want to add? That depends on you. So you can actually add anything, you can add any name that is descriptive. So I can just say, I am committing this for the first time. So I press enter, and like I said, you see the information you get. So it said root commits, then 3 files changed, sys1 intention, blah blah blah, created mode, and all those things. So also, let me just clear this. Then CLS. Then I need to do git status just to monitor what I have presently. So it says nothing to commit. So that means all our files have been committed. And the next thing is we have to do git remote add this. So for the first time, you have to add this. Let me open this in another tab so that we see what we are adding. Okay, for the first time. So for the first time, you have to add this HTTPS. This is where your repository is located on the internet, on GitHub. So you can just copy this, because I don't want us to be typing, wasting the time. You can copy this, come here, do this. Then if you do git status again, let's see what we have. Everything is clean. And the last thing is we want to push our changes to GitHub so that Ridwan or whoever the company is going to appoint is going to have access to the files wherever they are in the world. So to do that, to push to for the first time, you are going to do git push -u origin master. Don't worry, we'll get there. I will explain what all this master and all those things mean. So you do this and let's see what's going to happen. So I press enter, then probably my network is slow, but let's see what's going to happen. So we are waiting for that. That press enter. So I'm still waiting for that. Probably my network or maybe my laptop is kind of, let me just close up. Okay. So we see this. We see all this information like enumerating objects, blah, 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 counting objects, writing objects, then total. Then you see that it pushed it to this repository. So let's clear this again. CLS, we clear this. Fine. So we've done that, we've added, then we can go back to GitHub. And if I refresh this link now, let's see what we are going to get. You see that we have our files. And this is the guy that, okay, actually, it's because I'm using my laptop, that is why you have this here. But on the normal day, this should be Barakat. Then this is the message. So you can see it. So Barakat added these 3 files. And this is the message of the 3 files. And this was added 3 minutes ago. You see it. So presently, let me open Barakat and Ridwan's system side by side. So let's go back to our example here. So Barakat has been working on this project for a while, and presently you see this something here, which is .git. On a normal day, if your laptop is not on what's it called, show hidden files, you might not be able to see this, but it is there. So if you click on this, this is going to have a lot of information about that particular repository. So Barakat has been working on this project for a while. There is a Git repository, and Ridwan just joined the company. And now I need to start working on these files as well. So what do I do? So I need to access GitHub. and get a copy of this project from GitHub. So how do I do that? Well, to do that, all I have to do is I go to GitHub. So this is Barakat's profile. I'm just read one, and I need to be working on these files. So I go to GitHub, then I come here under this code. You can see it has a kind of icon like to download this code. So I can just come here, and you can see clone with HTTP. So basically, what I need to do is I need to clone this particular project onto my own computer so that I can work on it, and once I've made those changes, I can communicate with Barakat through Git and GitHub. So what I will do is, I can clone this project. So you just come here, then click on this. You see it. So if I click on this now, this particular icon here. So you can click on this. This is going to copy that project link, repo link, or you can just come here and copy this. So on Ridwan's laptop, on my own laptop, this is dated, don't save. So on my own laptop, I have nothing. Everything is just blank. So how do I get Barakat's project onto my laptop? So what I'll do is, normal level, I'll write git, then the next command line is going to be git clone. Git clone. Then I'm going to paste that URL I copied. So which is this? So I copied this URL, then I press enter. So Ridwan is cloning that particular project so that he can work on it also. So you can just wait for this for some seconds, depending on how large the project is. So you can see this. So now, if I go back to my project folder, you see it. I have it here, new background generator. So if I click on it, you see that I have all the files Barakat has worked on, and this came together with the Git folder. So this folder has all the information about that project, for Git, for anybody to communicate and collaborate via Git. So now, Barakat and Ridwan are working on this project together. So they are both working on this particular project, and not on not copying files directly from one another's computer, trying to make sure the versions are of the same. So now, more realistically, let's say we go back to work, and on the first day of my job, I say, you know what, I'm going to change this. I'm going to make some changes to this file. Remember, this is Ridwan's laptop. So Ridwan says, I'm going to change whatever I have here. So instead of background generator, let's say I don't like background generator. It doesn't really sound well. So let's say we have cool generator. So Ridwan is going to save this, and Ridwan is going to start with git status. This is going to bring an error, and I will explain why. Git status. Let's see what on a normal day we should have an error, because I deliberately did this, and I want to show you why. So this is still waiting. I think my laptop is kind of slow. So you see this, we have some errors coming up, which is probably unexpected, blah, 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 blah. Let me just cancel this because I don't want this. Oh my God. So we have some errors. Do you know why? It is because I am not in that folder that this .git is in. You can see I have another folder inside Ridwan's folder. So what I need to do first is I have to go into that folder. So let's just check, what do we have? Here I have new background generator. Let me just copy this just to make it faster. So I have to seed into that folder. Then I am presently in that folder. So inside that folder, I have made some changes, which is cool generator. I've changed this. Then let's do git status to know what we have. So git status says changes not staged for commit. So you've modified index.html. So no changes added to commit. Use, you can see it. So it's just trying to advise us in case we don't know what else to do. It says use add, git add, or git commit minus a. So like we did the other time, we are going to use git add. So we do git add index.html because that is the only file we've made changes to. So I press enter, we have that. Then I told us something the other time, like, what if we have thousands of files we've made changes to? Do we have to be typing them one after the other? No. So let's say, for example, I have my script tag here, and I'm going to make some changes to the script tag. I just want to like show you something. Okay. So let's say inside my script tag, I added some things. Let's say I want to add, let's say I just add a comment, like, okay, let's add a comment. I don't know why my laptop is kind of slow today. So I'm just going to add a comment. This is a comment, and I'm going to comment it out. Oops. So I commented this, then I go into style.css. I can say this is also a comment. What's wrong with me? Also. So I can comment this out just to like, I'm making some changes to those files. So if I do git status here, it's going to tell me all the files I've made changes to. So I have modified this, which I have added it, I've staged it, then I've modified these two files too. So if I want to, I want to stage these files, I want to add them, I will do git, then you can do git dot. So dot means add all the files that has changes. So if I do git dot add now, you see that it's going to like, let's see what's going to happen. So if I do git status, like I told us the other time last week, you can use your arrow up key to look through the histories of the commands you've typed. You can see it. These are the commands I've typed over time today. So I can do git status. You see that it has added both files. So if you've made changes to like millions of files with just git add means add all files that have been modified. So git add name, if you want to like, you just want to stage just one file, then you can just use git add, then the name of the file. So let me just do CLS again, just to clear the screen. So we've done git add, and the next thing is we have to commit. So we have to do git commit. This is read one. He has made some changes to some files, and he needs to like push them back to GitHub so that Barakat, wherever she is in the world, she can see those changes. So I can do git commit minus m, then the name of the commit. So I can say changed the title, added comments to script and style files. So I press enter after adding my commit message. So let's just wait for this. My laptop is kind of slow today. So you can see that, this is my commit message, and it says 3 files changed, and we have 3 files. So this and this, then 5 insertions, 2 deletions. Imagine that. So it means I added maybe some things, 5 things, then I deleted 2 things. Then let's do our git status again, just to see the status of our project. So you can see it. Git is just trying to like give me some other steps. Like, okay, fine, you've added some things, you've committed some things, and your branch is ahead of origin master by 1 commit. So use git push. to publish your local commit. So local commit means your the what's it called? The changes you made locally on your own computer. So you have to publish it. You have to push it out there. So how do you do that? You use git push. So let's do git push. So I do git push. So let's see what we are going to get. So we see this. You will see some things rolling, and it has some things done, trends. So you can actually go through all these messages by yourself. But trust me, ever since I've been pushing Git, unless there is error, I'm always concerned about this last step. Like, okay, it has pushed to this, and I have this. So far there is nothing like red. Like, okay, let's say I do Git commit now. I might have some reds or nothing to commit or git commit. So I use blah blah blah. So I can have some, but then there's no error. So that means something has been pushed. So the next thing for me now is, or the next thing for Barakat to do is, okay, she will go to GitHub and she will refresh this page with her own profile. And you can see we have some things here. So you can see we have those 3 files and we have the new commit messages. And this was done when? 2 minutes ago. And we have 2 commits. So 2 minutes ago, all those things, all these things, all these things, So if you check these 2 commits, let's check. So you can see that when you click on that 2 commits, we have the first commit, which was the commit that Barakat made 16 minutes ago. Though, I'm just one person, I'm, what can I say? Impersonating Barakat. So that is why you see read there. But on a normal day, this should be Barakat or whoever that is doing this. Then we have read one here also that committed some messages, some files 3 minutes ago with the commit messages. So if I click on this, on the first commit, you see what we have here. So GitHub is going to show some things like, these are the things we have for the first commit. Inside the index.html, you have this, we have this. Then let's go back to the second commit, and the one that read1 did on the first day on the job, he made some changes, right? So here, you can see it. So this is the original file here, the original file. And this is the changes read1 made. You can see that it is highlighted in red. So this shows like read1, whoever that committed that last commit made these changes, but this is the original change before he made the change. And if you scroll down, you can see it here. So if you are over here, you see 2 changes, 1 addition, 1 deletion. So it means read1 deleted something and he deleted background generator and added cool generator. So the same thing on other files. If you come here, you see that we have 4 changes, 3 addition, 1 deletion. So we have 3 additions here. The first thing is he clicked on enter here, come here, click on enter, then he typed the message, then he added it as a comment. So which we do not have here. Then if you go down, the style tag, if you come here, it shows you 1 changes, 1 addition, 1 deletion, 0 deletion. So the same thing, he came here and added a comment. So with this, I can know that, okay, this is what read1 did. So Baraka can come here and just be like, okay, read1 did this, read1 did that. So as you can see here, we have a history of all the changes made, and we can always go back if there is a mistake. If there is any mistake, probably read1 did something and it's not right, or maybe there is one issue. So we can always go back. The history is there every time. So if we make 1 million commits, you can always go back like, okay, fine, we've made 1 million changes to this application, but then everything we've been doing is rubbish. We have to go back to the first version of that application. So clicking on this commit now, I can go back to the very first, or maybe to the 1000th change. So this is just like the history, not just, this is the history over time. So imagine you have a project supervisor in school and you are using GitHub, for example, to communicate. So you can actually track, like maybe after making like 1,000 changes on your web, your project, and your project supervisor say that, oh, you know what, you made one change that time. I think that change is the correct version instead of this one you've actually made. So how do you go back? If you are using just normal Word documents you are transferring through email, it might be very, very difficult for you to track. But with this, you can come back and just be like, you just go there straight, click on it like, okay, we made these changes. Okay, sir, do you mean this? Oh, yeah, that is the change. So this is the change we actually need to, apply. So GitHub make that, or Git makes that easier for us. So if I go back to Barakat's computer, Barakat's project, we can see that, you can see this in Ridwan's project. Ridwan has actually made some changes. He has changed this H1 to code generator. But if I go back to Barakat's project, so on Barakat's laptop, Barakat still has background generator there. So why is this happening? Why? At least we've pushed the changes. Ridwan has pushed his changes to GitHub, but Barakat still has this. Well, because Barakat's computer doesn't know that Git has updated that version of the project. So the next thing that Barakat is going to do is she's going to run a command, which is git pull. If you remember, the last command Ridwan did was what? Git push. Where is it? So I'm just trying to, because I typed some things after that. So the last command Ridwan did is git push. So let me just clear this screen. CLS, clear. So the last command Ridwan did is git push. So git push means you are pushing. And Barakat is going to do what? Git pull. Git pull means she's pulling down the changes. So see what is going to happen. Check here. Once I press enter, check Barakat's project, background generator, and let's see what's going to happen. Did you notice that it has changed? How cool is that? And we have some information there too, like the one we saw on GitHub, like 2 changes, 1 addition, 1 deletion, then scripter 4 changes, 3 addition, 1 deletion, all those things. So at the end of the day, we have 3 files changed. So it's telling you like 3 files changed, 5 insertions, 2 deletions. How cool is that? So, and it also shows you here that something has changed here. So if I go to script tag also, we should be able to see the changes Ridwan made on his own laptop. You see it here. And if I go to style, we should be able to see the changes Ridwan made on his own computer before pushing to GitHub. So let's just say that Barakat now sees my first change and she's like, okay, Ridwan has made some changes and Ridwan changed background generator to code generator. And I think I really, really like this. So, but then I think Ridwan needs to like capitalize this instead of just small letter words. So he needs to capitalize it. So let me just change that in the project. So I'm going to say this is code generator. So Barakat is going to save that and she's going to follow the same workflow again. So she's going to do git status just to see the status. Oops. Git status. So git status says you've modified html.cs index.html. So let me just clear this. And the next thing is she's going to git add. Then I want to show you something because typing these things might be stressful sometimes. And as developers, we are encouraged to be lazy. Not because we just want to be lazy, but because we have a lot of things to do. We have thousands of things to get done. in a very short period of time. So you'd want to like, there's something called chaining. If you remember, when we were dealing with the advanced functions in array functions or array methods in JavaScript, I showed us how you can chain a map with filter with reduce. You can also do the same thing with commands too. So let's say I have 3 commands now. The first command is I want to add. The second command is I want to commit. And the third command I want to run is what? I want to push. So I can actually do these 3 things together. Oops, what's wrong? So I can actually do these three things together on a single command. So how do I do that? You can do git add. So this is going to add all the files I've made changes to. Then you can do and. So that means if you run this command successfully, then run the next command. So this is git commit -m, then the changes. So what is going to be this? Capitalized. What can we say? Title. So once we are done with this, then run this command, git push. So if I do this now, let's see what's going to happen. So I'm just showing us this. This is just like a hack. But then we don't have to do it. You can actually be writing your command one after the other. So if I do this now, this is, I think I wrote an article on this too, which I can actually share, but I can't remember. So it's been long. So you can see that. Let's see what's going to happen with that short command. So we are still waiting for that. So my laptop is kind of slow today. Probably I have a lot of things, programs running. So we are still waiting for the commands to get executed. You see that? Yeah, everything is pushed to GitHub now. So Ridwan can, or Barakat, or any one of them can actually go back to GitHub now and, you know, refresh. And you see that we have this title. And because we only made changes to index.html, we staged just index.html. That is why we have this commit message attached to it. I didn't mean that we made changes to other files too. You know, it's going to like be added. But because we only made changes to index.html, you can see that. And you can see that the commit was made 1 minute ago, whereby we have this one made 14 minutes ago, because, you know, Git can track which particular file you made changes to. So imagine you have thousands of files and you just made changes to some, you know, few files out of those files. So you can't be, you know, it is a waste of time, you know, going through all those files to see where the changes is made. But Git made that possible for us to be able to like add the commit message to just one file, so that if you want to track the history, you can know, okay, this is the only file that was changed 2 minutes ago. So if you go back to commits and you see that we have 3 commits now. So if I click on capitalized title, which is the commit message that Barakat, you know, gave to the change before committing, you see that we have code generator, and Barakat changed that to be capitalized. Like, okay, so instead of having it in sentence structure, why can't we have it in capitalized manner? So let's say Barakat has been working all night, you know, to change the title to capitalize, you know, and Ridwan, that is the new guy in that company, he just went home that day and he came back the next day, you know, he might not be able to know that, okay, Barakat has been working all night to change this code generator to capitalize. So what Ridwan is going to do, this is just a normal workflow. Ridwan is going to say, you know what, git pull all the changes. So let's see what's going to happen here too. So if I do enter now, and presently, you know that inside read one folder project, we have this not capitalized. So let's see what's going to happen. So while that is, you know, coming down, you see that it has changed. How cool is that? So in the next section, which is the next thing we are going to do now, I'm going to expand on some things. I'm going to explain some things, and you know, the question you might have is, okay, if Ridwan and Barakat on their maybe on their respective laptops, so wherever they are in the world, let's say Ridwan and Barakat made the same changes to the same code, what is going to happen? And what is GitHub going to do? So I know you have that question in mind. So that is the next thing we are going to talk about now, which is, you know, branching in Git conflict, and how to resolve conflict in Git. So if we have any question before we move on to the next stage, you can actually ask, then we can, you know, move on. Do we have any questions? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what?
Yes, I believe very, very explanatory.
Okay, thank you.
And I think you really, really delved on the steps that we need to go.
Okay,
So
so
we'll do the add, then commit, then push.
okay, thank you. So the next thing we have to do now is we have to move on to the, let me see, the advanced section of Git and GitHub. So I'm going to open something. Let me just pause this for